This was James Jones on the facility this morning, basically saying that if Dak goes on the IR, he's quitting on his team. Take a listen.
My man quitting on these dudes. I've had a hamstring plenty of times, and I'm back the next week. I'm not Tyreek Hill. It don't take no 4 weeks for you to heal from no hamstring. You're not Lamar Jackson. Dak Prescott, with the way the season is going right now, we heard him on the sideline, what he said. Dak is quitting on these boys. You are not, is it off the bone or something? Because there's no way you're telling me that you're out 4 weeks with no answers, no nothing, no fight, no nothing for a hamstring, and you're a quarterback.
Okay, Greg, is that fair?
No. Initially, when I first saw Dak on the sideline and then CD go down, that was my takeaway.
It was.
They're quitting. That was initially my takeaway. The moment I heard more in that he might go on IR, you automatically, from a player's perspective, I have to be more like, this is more serious than what I originally thought. Because now it's like, okay, he's seriously injured. Because I don't believe that Dak Prescott believes, to your point earlier, that their season is over. I do believe he believes that they're not a really good football team, but that doesn't mean he won't go out there and compete with those guys who are out there. And so for me, I think it's too far to say that he's quitting on his team. Although that was my first takeaway.
Can I ask a question, though, from a just pure kind of physiology standpoint, athlete body? A hamstring that would knock Tyreek Hill, as he mentioned, out for a month, is it legit to say that a quarterback that's more of a pocket-style quarterback like Dak has turned into could play on that exact same injury after 2 weeks? Because I think James's point was essentially he doesn't need his hamstrings the way fast guys do, and so he should be able to play compromised and not guarantee your shelf for a month. Because the IR means you can't come back. He's saying test it each week, essentially.
Yeah, so the thing about hamstrings, because most athletes who have played ball has had a hamstring, they pull at you. And so, like, it's not as simple as, because I had this talk with Ramsey. I'm like, man, he's a quarterback. He can sit in the pocket and just, But the more I think about it, I've had a hamstring. As James Jones has alluded, he had a hamstring too. When James Jones first got to Green Bay, I was out the first 2 weeks because of a hamstring. And I tried to come back the week prior, and I made it worse, and I had to sit out another week. So if you are dealing with a severe hamstring, it kind of pulls up on you, and you can't really move.
Yeah,
so
the
movement in the pocket is minimized already with Dak. It becomes even less with the hamstring.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because there's a lot of confusion. First off, I don't think it's fair to say that Dak Prescott is quitting on his team. I understand he got caught saying what he said. I got news for you. He's not the first player to say that about his team, okay? Mega superstar. I'm sure every single star who's ever played NFL, baseball, basketball, whatever, have had those moments. It's just, he got caught on the sidelines saying it. But he's not, I don't think he's quitting. I understand that. So for a hamstring injury, especially in football, so much of it is going to get aggravated and cause you problems with these explosive runs, right? So it's when you're essentially doing nothing and essentially right when you call hike, right? And you just explode off the line. It's these explosive power, fast contractions that can really cause those issues. That when you have that hamstring issue, that's what it can inhibit, and then also have be re-aggravated, right? Whereas reality, you see maybe some of these other injuries, a same guy like Tyreek Hill, right? Maybe can't explode off the line, but can probably go for a jog. He can probably maybe even go for a 10-mile run, because you're using your muscle in a completely different way. So I understand, and just because one person had a hamstring injury and another person means it's equal, that's absurd. That actually doesn't even make sense, because there's all different degrees of injuries on a spectrum. Everyone has different pain thresholds, and not to mention, like, they also have different there's different priorities in terms of what's important. Do you think Baker Mayfield should have played with his injury when he was with the Browns? It almost cost him his entire career. People said he's not good. He's a wash. Move on from him. He got really lucky that he was able to then play for Sean McVay and then go to the Bucs and prove to him, hey, you know what? I'm actually a pretty decent quarterback. Like what you saw at the end of my Browns career, one was situation, and two, I had a messed up shoulder. So again, Dak already got paid, so you can make the argument he needs to be out there. But again, it's risk reward. It's one of those things where it's like, what are the chances that this team turns into anything right now? And the answer is probably not very high. So why are you going to put yourself in a greater disadvantage? Why are you going to risk to be more injured? It's just not fair. I mean, they said the same thing about Jordan Love, but they didn't say that he was quitting on his team, because they were saying, listen, if this was a playoff game and Jordan Love hurt his, I forget if it was his MCL, ACL, whatever it was like, hey, you know what? He's not ready for the second game. You know, it was definitely his first game he was out. But then there was like question marks. Would he be ready for that second game that he missed? And they were like kind of saying, if this was a playoff game, he could probably play. But since it's not, they're going to hold him back. But no one said, oh, they're quitting on, you know, he's quitting on this team or whatever. Like it just doesn't really make sense. I think it's too harsh of criticism on Dak. If you want to criticize his play, if you want to criticize maybe even his leadership and stuff like that, that's fine. But if you want to now like kind of cast out and throw out there that he's quitting on this team, I mean, that's actually one of the most insulting things that you can say to a player, actually, right? Outside of maybe if you just being like, you're not good, you know, like outside of that, saying that you're quitting, right? Like it's just like you're quitting. It's saying you don't care enough. It's you're failing to meet these expectations, and now you're quitting because you, again, any player who has played, I feel like even just up to like middle school at this point, honestly, you don't even have to play in high school, pros, college, whatever. Like you've been around people who you've probably felt that they are quitting, or that I've been with some to plan, and they're just like, you know, my back or my shoulder, my leg, whatever it is, or, you know, even if they do get banged up a little bit, they use it as an opportunity to be like, I can't go on, and you can tell that they can't handle the moment, they can't handle it. I do not think that that's what's happening with Dak. If anything, if you want to be the harshest on Dak that you can be, you know, that's actually more realistic, you can say that he is making like a career decision, right? That he is saying, this team is not good enough. I got paid all this money. I'm not going to go out there and risk further injury. I'm just not going to do it. I'm thinking long term. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to go out there just to prove to everyone that I'm rough and tough and that I'm not quitting. My hamstring is messed up. I'm not 100%. Why am I going to play injured right now for a team that clearly is not good enough? Mike McCarthy is about to get fired. Jerry Jones is making weird trades right now. Like, I'm not going to do it. And I understand that. I understand that from both a human level and an athlete level. So I think the criticism is quite frankly too harsh, honestly. And you can't just be like, he gets paid hundreds of millions of dollars to go out there, he better do it. If there was no risk of further injury, then sure. But with a hamstring, there absolutely is. And the problem is hamstring injuries just keep lingering and lingering and lingering. And the thing that nobody wants to talk about, we only seem to only understand this when it comes to calf muscles, that when your calf muscles hurt, that you then have the risk of shredding your Achilles, right? It seems like everyone now understands it. Everyone knows, have a calf issue, we got to be real careful because at any second, your Achilles tendon can explode. It's the same thing for a hamstring. It's all the integrity around the knee. Your hamstring is compromised. You are now compromising everything around your knee, your meniscus, your ACL, your MCL, everything. So why would Dak risk right now tearing his meniscus, his MCL, ACL, and any of the other things that you could possibly tear? Why would he risk that? Because if he tears that, he's now missing part of next season, or depending how severe, all of next season. Why would he do that? It makes no sense. None. So he doesn't deserve this heat, honestly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Dak Prescott quitting on his team and you know, fighting through injuries. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.